Okay, it's my VC.
Okay. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please, we thank you all for being here today. We are very much blessed. We have His Grace, Sri Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, who will be speaking to us today from the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. Sri Chaitanya Prema Prabhu doesn't need introduction. He's been a Bhakti Shastri teacher for so long in our region, and he's been mentor to some of us for a very long time. But he's very friendly, and one is to be very attentive, not to commit offenses because of his too much friendliness. So today we have him here, and Prabhuji, if you're ready, we'll put the verse on the screen and then you will take it over from here.
Yes, yes.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And in addition, Prabhu is the Minister for Education in West Africa.
Yes, Minister of Education, yes. Thank you for that, Kavikana Prabhu.
Prabhu, forgive me. Thank you.
And he's also a certified Bhakti Savabhoma.
Okay, so we have the text on the screen, Sri Chaitanya Prema Prabhu.
Am I saying it?
Can you see?
Yes. Still showing the now it goes there.
Okay. So do we change our Radha Madhava?
It's up to you. If you want to, you may. But Sri Prabhupada already chanted.
Yeah. For my own purification, sir.
Yes, you may.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ramjana Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ramjana Jai Vrajajana Ranjana Jai Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Kunjavi Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Jaya Radha. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Jaya Radha. Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Jaya Radha. Jaya Radha, Giridhari Radha, Giridhari Jaya Radha. Jaya Jagana, Jaya Jagana, Baladeva Devi Suvara. Jai Guranita, 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 Jai Gura, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Guru. Nitai Gur Haribo, 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 Gur Haribo. Jaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Jaya Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Jaya Amala Purana, Jaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Jaya Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Jaya Amala Purana. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Iskon Guru Vrinda ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mantra ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Namaskritya Naram Chakra Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Devayet. Nasta Price Swabhadra Sunitya Bhagavata Seva Bhagavati Masloki Bhakti Bhagavata 9 seconds. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from SRIMAD Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 1st chapter, verse number 2. Sruta Vyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrasaha Apasyatam Atmatatvam Griyesu Grihamedinam. Sruta Vyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrasaha Apasyatam Atmatatvam Griyesu Grihamedinam. Sruta Vyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrasaha Apasyatam Atmatatvam Griyesu Grihamedinam. Word for word translation. Srutavya Adini, subject matters for hearing. Rajendra, O Emperor. Nirnam, of human society. Santi, Jara. Sahasra Saha, hundreds and thousands. Apasyatam, of the blind. Atmatatvam, knowledge of self, the ultimate truth. Griyesu Grihamedinam, of persons too materially engrossed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. Purport by His Divine Grace, the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. In the revealed scriptures, there are two nomenclatures for the householder's life. One is Grihastha, and the other is Grihamedhi. The Grihasthas are those who live together with wife and children, but live transcendentally for realizing the ultimate truth. The Grihamedis, however, are those who live only for the benefit of the family members, extended or centralized, and thus are angels of us. The word Medi indicates jealousy. No, it has gone too far. The word Medi indicates jealousy of others. The Grihamedis, being interested in family affairs only, are certainly envious of others. Therefore, one Grihamedi is not on good terms with another Grihamedi. And in the extended form, one community, society, or nation is not on good terms with another counterpart of selfish interest. In the age of Kali, all the householders are jealous of one another because they are blind to knowledge of ultimate truth. They have many subject matters for hearing: political, scientific, social, economic, and so on. But due to poor fund of knowledge, they set aside the question of the ultimate mysteries of life, namely the mysteries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Factually, the human life is meant for making an ultimate solution to birth, death, old age, and disease. But the Grihamedis, being illusioned by the material nature, forget everything about self-realization. The ultimate solution to the problem of life is to go back home, back to God. And thus, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 8:16, the miseries of material existence, birth, death, old age, and disease are removed. The process of going back home, back to Godhead, is to hear about the Supreme Lord and his name, form, attributes, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Foolish people do not know this. They want to hear something about the name, form, etc., everything temporary. And they do not know how to utilize this propensity of hearing for the ultimate good. Misguided as they are, they also create some false literatures about the name, form, attributes, etc., of the ultimate truth. One should not therefore become a Grihamedi simply to exist for envying others. One should become a real householder in terms of the scriptural injunctions. Om Gana Timrandasya, Gana Gana Salakaya, Chaksu Militayana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bistan Sapitayana Bhutali, Swayam Rupakadama Hiyam Dadati, Swa Padantikam, Mukam Karutu Vashalam, Angum Langarate Grim. Yad Kripata Hamband Sri Guru Dinata Bancha Kapatar Vyacha Kripasni Vyadavacha Chitana Vaishnav Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Suvasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shruta Vyadini Rajendra Nirinam Santi Sahasra Saha Apasyatam Atmatatvam Grihesu Grihamedina. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society or in growth. So you are welcome to today's Bhagavatam class. And we are happy that you are here. We are fortunate also that there are many senior devotees here. So from wherever the subject matter comes, we can have something to say. Everyone should contribute. I'm a facilitator, just a facilitator. We are all given the class. So that is it. That is the beauty of it. So welcome, Hare Krishna. Shruta Vyadini Rajendra, Nirnam Santi Sahasra Saha, Apasyatam Admatatuam Griyesu Griya Medina. Now, those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of the ultimate truth, have many social matters for hearing in human society. So generally, there is a problem. Anta yatanda upani yamanas. Nate vidu swadagatim hi Vishnu durasayaye bayata manina. Anta yatanda upani yamanas. Tepi satantriyam hurudam. Generally, the world is full of blind people. And these blind people are leading other blind people. And therefore, their destination is a ditch. We are also in the world, but we know something deeper. Our children are coming also. They need to know something deeper. And that is exactly why, to help ourselves and to help the people around us and to help the world, we are going to talk about, first of all, the difference between a Grihastha and a Griyamedi. We are going to talk about how the individuals are the microcosm of a community. And therefore, when the individuals are corrupted, when their thinking faculty is corrupted, and therefore their actions in the wrong direction, then of course it's going to spread into the community. The community will be full of people with corrupted mental space, people with corrupted mental culture. And the product is that there will be more dissatisfaction, more confusion, violence, social vices, and we are also there. So we cannot keep quiet. So we're going to talk about this. We talk about how it is important for the individuals to be evolved in consciousness, to remove the virus of sense gratification and the necessity for immunizing ourselves against the influx of such a virus. Virus literally means vital information resource on the seed. Vital information resource on the seed. So the rational faculty, the intellectual faculty, that is the vital information resource. And when it is corrupted by the virus of ignorance, what do you expect? The whole software is corrupted. So what is the use of the hardware, which is just, just a tool for the corrupted software to carry out its activity? Virus. So this is how much the world is infested, and therefore the need for the devotees who know something to come on board to help immunize them. And this is the process of hearing Bhagavatam. So after talking about that, we are also going to still talk about the process of getting free from the endemic mysteries of birth, death, old age, and disease, which is given in the purport. And what is that process? We're going to talk about it. Yes. Basically, it starts with hearing about the transcendental attributes, name, form, pastimes of the Lord, and taking to it and, imbibing it, internalizing it, and practicing it ourselves. That is the formula. But there is a lamentation in the purport also, which we are going to address, that even though these people have corrupted mental space, they are positioning themselves to also write about the form, activities, and attributes of the Lord. Huh? Imagine an impersonalist writing about the Lord, a Maya body writing about the Lord, a gross sense gratifier writing about the Lord. And many people are going to be misled, you see. So it is a big lamentation. Therefore, devotees are at that point requested to come on board to really preach and open the eyes of people. Then after talking about that, we go and look at the conclusion, whereby Srila Prabhupada called us. He said, come on board. Please, please, do not become a Giriyamedi. Instead, become a Grihasta. So these are the points here. So first of all, what is the difference between a Grihasta and a Grihamedi? So I told you before that I'm going to just facilitate. So can you give some suggestion when you hear the word Grihasta? What are the things that come to your mind? What is supposed to constitute a Grihasta? Be very sincere and honest with me so that let us share and make it a little bit interactive so that we can all bring out something from where we are keeping it. Don't hide what you know. It is violence. You know something, you're hiding it, and you want to kill it. When you hear the word Grihasta, what are the things that come to your mind as opposed to the word Grihamedi? When you hear these two words, what are the things that come to your mind? In the way of comparing and contrasting.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Saliji.
What comes to mind is a married couple dedicated to married life for the ultimate purpose of pleasing God, Krishna.
That's good. Ultimate, for the ultimate purpose of pleasing God. Okay, not just for saying gratification. Okay, that is very good. Almost exactly the definition of Srila Prabhupada. Can somebody add something to it, please? Which other thing?
Prashad Prabhu, please you may unmute.
A Grihasta is one who lives according to the guideline given by God for family life and trying to mold the immediate family and society along godly values and avoiding ungodly values to be able to please God and emancipate himself and his subjects from the miseries of material life.
Great. A very great definition. Each time I want to grab one thing, then when you drop the next one, I lose grip of that one. As I want to grab one, you drop the next one. So there are so many gim points there. Grihastas living to emancipate, society, and by living by example. I've forgotten the exact words. They're very sweet, very beautiful definition. I don't think some ordinary person can come up with this kind of definition. So it is very gratifying and invigorating to the soul. So, Bharata Prabhu, thank you very much, Gangaya Prabhu. Gangaya, thank you.
Let's hear from Shima Bharata Prabhu, you may speak. Hare Krishna, Shima Bharata Prabhu. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Is my voice okay?
Yes.
Is my voice okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. Yeah, well, I moved to say something because yesterday was some of the points in our Sunday class. So, yeah, Grihasta actually means married couple using their house as monastery, ashram. married couple using their house as a monastery, what we call ashram. So God is the center. God is the is the reason why they do everything. So the children are trained in God conscious life, and the husband and wife are the the guru and the Siksha guru, conducting everything for the pleasure of God. That is the purpose of marriage, making your house an ashram as a grihastha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Making your house great. Married couples living together with God as the first party. That means making the place a house of God that they are there to take care of. So in this way, even though they are living together, the goal is not sense gratification, but the goal is to cooperatively serve the Lord and only go for the remnant, the mercy of the Lord, and acting in a way that their master will be pleased. That means the biggest room in the house will be the place of prayers. The biggest room, the place with the best of tiles, the best designs on the walls will be the place for prayers. That is a grihastha. The best of God. And we are taking care of that best. That's a grihastha. Very beautiful definition. Beautiful. So these definitions are all very beautiful, and the common thing about them is that they are all complementary. They are not contradictory, but complementary. So this is beautiful. And if we tell everybody to define this, everyone in this room right now, we define it very nicely, and you see that they are all complementary. So the idea is clearly understood. Who is a grihastha? According to Srila Prabhupada's definition here, it's the same thing. Those who live together with wife and children, but live transcendentally for realizing the absolute truth. That is how it is in the purport. Exactly. All what has been said looks so beautiful, all boiling down to the same thing, coming together for the service of God. But the reverse is the case when you talk of a Griyamedi. According to the purport, the Griyamedis are envious of one another. Yes. They live together only for the benefit of the family members, extended or concentrated, and thus they are envious of others. They are envious. And for that, they are jealous of one another. Two, they are blind to knowledge of the ultimate truth. They are unable to unify everything in the service of the Lord. So there is complexity in diversity. Complexity in diversity, not unity. But for the grihastha, there is unity in diversity. Unity in diversity versus complexity in diversity. It's different between the grihastha and the griyamedi. Then why? Because they are blind to knowledge of the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is God. Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishna Nitya Das. This is the ultimate truth. They have forgotten this. Therefore, Isada Petasia Viparia Yo Asmriti. Isat Apetasia, they have turned away. They forgot their real identity, their constitutional identity, and they turn away from the service of the Lord, and therefore they are haunted by forgetfulness. Asmriti, Isat Apetasia, as soon as they apetasia, they turn away from the Lord, then asmriti sets in, forgetfulness. You see? Then they have many subjects of hearing, as in the purpose, political, social, scientific, economic, all kinds of subjects for hearing without any unity. They talk politics, they talk football, they fight and even kill each other. They're talking football and politics, and they want to hear more. Television is their professor. They are taking television as their professor. So whatever the television says, they take it and they brainstorm on it. And then you see some of them fighting and even killing themselves. You see? They are very much interested in hearing about sex. Interested in hearing about songs glorifying sex. They are interested in dancing, that the waist is being twisted round and round and round. Waist twisting dances. They are interested. They're interested in raising their hands, say, and to them, this dance is too dull. So, in this way, these people, they set aside the basic questions, of the ultimate truth, ultimate goal of life, which is to become free from birth, old age, disease, and death. Why? Because their mental space is now corrupted by the illusory energy. Therefore, they have no thoughts about what is death, what comes after death, what is the goal of life. And in this way, they are living ordinary life. That is why the Prahlad Maharaj said they are blind men. Then the biggest among the blind men will be the leader. So one blind man is leading the rest. Anta yatandai upaniyamanas tepis atantriyam urudam nibada. They are bound by the rope of the emotion, and they are dragged on life after life. God, they are falling into that well where there are a lot of snakes biting them. So this is the first part of it, that in this particular age, the age of Kali, all the householders are jealous of one another because they are blind to knowledge of the ultimate truth and are therefore Griamedis. All householders, except the devotees of the Lord, are Griamedis in Kali Yuga. So you can imagine a society of Griamedis. Because the Prabhupada said in the purport that is the family unit. When the family units are God conscious, the community becomes God conscious, because the family unit is the microcosm of the community. Many family units come together to make a community. So if the family unit is living a life of Griamedis, the whole community will be a community of Griamedis. Then when that is expanded, it becomes a whole country becoming a country of Griamedis. And when that is extended, the whole world becomes a world of Griamedis. Right now in Kali Yuga, we are saying that more than 95% are Griamedis. So what do you expect? You expect violence, more dissatisfaction, more selfishness, more killings, more vices of all kinds. All environmental forces become volatile. Therefore, we have to do as Buddhists. The Prabhupada expects us to live by example, then preach, try to educate people about how to live in this world. It's a big task. So that the whole world become a better place for everyone. Then individually, when we leave our body, we have a better destination. This is the big work we have at hand. Then, having said that, the ultimate solution is also given in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. The ultimate solution. Yes, the ultimate solution is given by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Yes, the ultimate solution. What is the ultimate solution? What is the process of going back to God? Srila Prabhupada quoted Bhagavad Gita 8:16, that when one becomes fully liberated, freed from the cycle of birth and death, and he goes back to God, in the kingdom of God, there is no birth, no old age, no disease, no death. Brahma Bhuvana Loka na avatino urgina mamu petia to na janman and na bidiate. So no births, no old age, no disease, no deaths. That is how it is over there. And that is where we are expected to go. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of mysteries wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, the son of Kunti, never takes birth there. This is our destination. That we are in the military local, we want to attain our military local. We want to attain the transcendental world, but we are in the world of birth and death. So there is a process for going back home, back to that Godhead, going back to that place where there are no, there's a process. This is the second part of the class. What is the process of going back? The process is given, that is to hear about the Supreme Lord and his name, form, attributes, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. It's Srila Prabhupada who gave this process in the purport. Srila Prabhupada gave the process in the purport. The Prabhupada gave the process that to hear about the Supreme Lord and his name, form, attributes, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. That is the process. And yesterday lecture was dedicated to, elaborating on this process. And it was very beautiful. We all had it. Faith develops by hearing. Since people are addicted to hearing about mundane things and mundane sense gratification, let us replace that with hearing about the Lord who is beyond the influence of birth and death, who is beyond time, who is fully liberated. This is the process. And if you go to SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM 1.5.11, 1.5.11, because the proper lament, this text is saying, Shrota Vyadini Rajendra, Nirnam Santib Sahasra Saha, Apasyatam Atmatatwam Medina. Apasyatam Atmatatwam. The word Apasyatam is very significant in this verse. Apasyatam. Apasyatam. They are forgetful of their real identity. And therefore, they are forgetful of the ultimate goal. And therefore, they have no inclination to hearing about the Lord. They want to hear everything else except the Lord. Now, according to this text in the Bhagavatam, on the other hand, that literature, okay, let's start from 10, please. Let's start from 10, because this is the positive aspect of it. The negative aspect, the first half of it, is the Griamedis and the life of the Griamedis and the professors, Griamedi professors. Those whose words, or those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. All the literatures are garbage. All the literatures are garbage, especially when those literatures do not connect to the Lord. You're just studying and speculating about what is this, what is not that, what is this is that. You are speculating about the laws, and you are making use of the laws, but you don't care for the lawmaker. Then it is just a garbage. Varieties without unity. Therefore, no conclusion. You see? So they are like onto a place of pilgrimage for crows. A place where crows, dead body eaters, converge. Big dustbin, that is where dead body eaters converge, looking for rubbish. So those literatures are compared to be like that, a place of pilgrimage for crows. Then on the other hand, let's go to this one, the one for the Grihasthas. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, past tense, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Scroll to this slogan so that you can read the last line of the slogan. Very sweet. Yes. Srivanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadabe. Srivanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadabe. That's the last line. Even though those literatures are imperfectly composed, they are heard, they are sung, they are accepted by men who are thoroughly honest, by purified men. But on the other hand, the first one is Na Yatra Hamsa Niramanti Usikshaya. Na Yatra, those kind of places where crows congregate, they are not a place of pilgrimage. They are not yatras for the Hamsas, for the swan-like people. They don't go there. You don't see swan go to debris. Na Yatra Hamsa Niramanti Usikshaya. So this is it. They are compared. These persons have all attraction to hear about everything else. Sorry, professor's glass is half broken. Forgive me. You see, it is like that. They are not interested in where crows congregate, and they accept those efforts to glorify the Lord, books composed by the devotees, even though they are improperly composed. The purified men, they accept it, they respond to the innermost intention of the devotee, and they respond, they glorify those literatures, they study them, and they recite them. Therefore, the Griamedis are for the first sloka, and the Griasas are for the second sloka. Having said that, let us look at Bhagavatam 1.8.36. 1.8.36. Canto 1, chapter 8, text 36. Supporting the same thing, the same point. Jisadev, can you share with us Bhagavatam 1.8.36? 1.8.36. You see the first three words in this sloka. Srivanti, Gayanti, Grinanti. They are in that other sloka. They are in the second sloka, the one for the Griyastas. So let's look at the translation. Let's look at the translation, please. Oh, Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Oh, Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So we are in the process of stopping the repetition of birth and death. And the SRIMAD Bhagavatam is giving the process. This is the process to continuously hear, chant, and repeat the transcendental activities and take pleasure in hearing them. Becoming happy seeing others doing so. These people are eligible for the kingdom of God. So this is where we are interested. Devotees are swans. Devotees are Griyastas. They are not Griamedis. And so the Prabhupada is lamenting for the Griamedis. He said, Srota Vyajini Rajendra, Nirna Santi Sahasrasa. They have thousands of subject matters to hear about, except Atma Tattva. See how serious it is. People who are lost to their own self-interest. They don't care. Somebody has given a design. The design, somebody designed the 2 legs, the 1 neck, the 2 eyes. Our bodies are somebody's design. And we are capable of changing it. Now, even though we enjoy the design, we want to gratify the design, but we don't care for the designer. And we don't even want to hear about the designer. See how unfortunate it is. This is what is happening in this world. People are not interested in hearing about the designer. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is lamenting. Say, unfortunately, they are not interested in hearing. He said, foolish people do not know the process of going back to Godhead. Thus, they want to hear about everything else, name and form of everything else, everything temporary, and they do not care. Therefore, he concluded that they are unable to utilize their hearing propensity for their enlightened self-interest. Therefore, this is Prabhupada's lamentation. He's lamenting because he wants them to know it, so that everybody can act for his own enlightened self-interest. And since they don't know, and since we know, we have to help them know. Therefore, we have a duty. And the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is established for this purpose, for those who know already, to stay as a camp, to arrange themselves, to educate those who do not know. This duty is enough. If you are doing this, yata taro mula nisesha tripianti tat skanda bujo upasaka prano pahara cha yatendriyanam tataiva sarvaranam achuteja. You are watering the root to the tree of life. Therefore, the leaves and the branches and the trunks are automatically nourished. As much as when you give food to the stomach, the whole body lilies are nourished. So those who are in educate people about the goal of life, about the glories of the Lord, they are watering the root, and that is the process. And this is still further corroborated. Go to SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM 4:30-19. If you are a Grihastha and you are acting with this principle, you will never be bound. Na bandaya. Please, Sadhe Prabhu, share with us 4:30-19. This is the hope of Grihastha. A Grihastha has hope. A Grihastha is within the arrangement of the Lord. But a Grihastha is outside of the arrangement of the Lord. A Grihastha is just a sense gratifier. Grihesu avisatam chapi pumsanku salakarmanam manvrata mahbata yatayamanam na bandaya grihamata. This is the line I'm looking for. Na bandaya grihamata. So look at the translation. If you look at the translation, the last sentence there. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, is not affected by the results of his action. If a Grihastha is following and practicing according to the definition of a Grihastha, then even though he's acting as a Grihastha, he's not entangled. Like a lotus flower, Padma Patramiva. Those who are engaged in auspicious activities in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or beneficiary of all activity is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one acts, he offers the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes life always engaged in topics of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, he is not affected by the result of his action. This is it. This is it. It's not affected. So let us become proper Grihasthas. Then we are there in the right hand, on the right hand of God. Na bandaya grihamata. And then, if you go to 4:30-35 also, we don't want to speculate. That's why we are giving the quotations directly. SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, Canto 4, verse 30-35. You see another one. We cannot be tired of this quotation because these are sutras. When you recite it, you become invisible. Just remember them and recite them and you become invisible. People are looking at you, but not seeing you. JJ Ram. Yes. Yatra Diante Katam Restars. Krishna ya Prasano Yata. Nirvairam Yatra Buktesu. No Dwego Yatra Kashana. No Dwego Yatra Kashana. This is a supporting verse. Whenever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, whenever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material anchoring, at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. This is how beautiful it is. Reciting Bhagavatam, hearing the glories of the Lord and reciting them, it makes you fearless. It makes you forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being. And it frees one from envy of others. And to support this also, in another verse, 2:1:11, the same formula is corroborated. There are so many quotations in the Bhagavatam supporting this. 2:1:11. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yogina nirpanirnitam harinama anuketana. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yoginam nirpanirnitam harinama anuketana. Harinama anuketana. Go again. That's it. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all. Success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyments, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So it's the fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyments, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. This immediately reminds everyone here about Akama Sarvakama Moksakama Udaradi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusa Param. So these are complementary verses supporting the glories and the importance of glorifying the Lord. And let us not quote all the verses because there are so many verses in the Bhagavatam. But let us go to Canto 10 and quote them to support that. Move away from these points and go to the next point. Canto 10, chapter 1, verse 4. It is very important that we stimulate our intelligence with Bhagavad Gyan. Are you with us, Sadhuji? Canto 10, chapter 1, text 4. Nivrita sai upagiyamanan Baba Shadak Trotra Mano Abiramat Ka utamas loka guna anuvadat Umam virajieta vina pasugnat. Only a pasugna. Only a pasugna. But every other person, only a busha. Every other person, that is the translation. Please, scroll up. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Paramparam system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who are those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of the cosmic manifestation. Description of the Lord are the right medicine. They are the right medicine for the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is sick because it's undergoing repeated birth and death. The right medicine, to cure the conditioned soul from repeated birth and death is the glorification of the Lord. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? So it is highly lamentable that the Griamedis, the generality of people in this world are not interested. They are not interested in this glorification of the Lord. Instead, they create their own glorification of temporary things. They glorify ministry, they glorify football, they glorify all kinds of things except the Lord. Therefore, in the end, they remain, they are lost in the wilderness of confusion. They are confused in the wilderness of, more confusion. And therefore, their hope for liberation is very, very slim. Okay, so this is the lamentations. The Prabhupada lamented in the purport that being illusioned by material nature, the Griamedis forget everything about self-realization. The Griamedis, this is lamentable. They forget. They don't care for the goal of life. They are lost in the ocean of ignorance. The Griamedis. Foolish people do not know the process of going back to God. Thus, they want to hear something about the name, form, etc. of everything temporary, and do not know how to utilize this opportunity or this propensity of hearing for the ultimate good. So, and the danger is that, misguided as they are, they also create some false literature about the name, form, attributes, etc. of the ultimate truth. Therefore, I want to recommend, there is a recommendation and it's a revelation, so that we can see our things ourselves very clearly. We can see our fortunate position as people to be guided by the Vedic culture, by the beauty of becoming a proper Grihastha. So let us go to 10, 14, 36. 10, 14, 36. Tavad ragadaya stenas, Tavad ragadaya stenas, Tavad kara griham griham, Tavam moho angri nigado, Yavad Krishna nate jana. Tavad ragadaya stenas, Tavad kara griham, Tavam moho angri nigado, Yavat Krishna nate jana. This is very serious. Translation. This is Lord Brahma speaking. Lord Brahma is the one speaking, the most intelligent man in the universe. So as devotees, we are very, very safe. The devotee is secured. Salika, the devotee is secured. We are seeing you, Salika. You are talking something else somewhere. Hare Krishna. My dear Lord, Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves. Their homes remain prisons, Ningadaha, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles. So the devotee, only the devotee is exempted here until people become devotees. If you do not become a devotee, then all your material attachment and desires remain thieves. They steal you away from yourself and take you on the path of ignorance and deeper ignorance. Their homes remain prisons, even though they have suffered very hard to build the houses. They are just like prisons because the service of the Lord is not theirs. This is the fate of the Griamedis. And their affectionate feelings for their family members, for which they are working so hard, they remain foot shackles, prisoners that are shackled with iron chains on the foot. They cannot move anywhere. This is how serious it is. Therefore, the conclusion is that in the last sentence of the purport of today's verse, Jesus had to go there. We read the conclusion. It's the Prabhupada's conclusion. Yes. Last part of the purpose. Last sentence, actually. One should not, therefore, become a griamedi, simply to exist for envying others. One should become a real householder in terms of the scriptural injunction. This is the conclusion. So, on my part, I've really decided to finish hard and to take to the hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, and the devotees of the Lord, to read about them, associate with them, and in the process purify my existence until I leave my body in the association of devotee. This is my resolve. I take to my chanting seriously. I study as much as possible so that even when my physical body becomes, I will still be relevant in the association of devotees. And so I'm stimulating my higher self with transcendental knowledge. And in that way, I will know where I'm supposed to be, but I'm not there. If you look at the last, the purport of the last verse we quoted, the purport of 10:14:36. If you read that purport, you will see exactly what we are talking about. How to remain a devotee, a grihastha, and therefore living in the world but not getting entangled. If you read that the purpose, apparently the residents of Vrindavan, the abode of Lord Krishna, are simple householders engaged in ordinary affairs, such as herding cows, cooking, rearing children, and performing religious ceremonies. However, all these activities are intensely engaged in the loving service of Lord Krishna. The residents of Vrindavan perform all activities in pure Krishna consciousness and thus exist on the most exalted platform of liberated life. Otherwise, the activities performed without Krishna constitute ordinary to the material world. Thus, one should not misunderstand the exalted position of the residents of Vrindavan, nor should one consider oneself highly religious simply because one performs ordinary domestic affairs very enthusiastically, but without Krishna consciousness. By focusing our passionate attachments on our family and society, we are completely deviated from the progressive path of Krishna consciousness. Conversely, if we engage our family in the loving service of the Lord, our endeavors to maintain our family becomes part and parcel of our progressive spiritual duties. In conclusion, by studying the extraordinary status of the residents of Vrindavan, we can see that the essential qualities of their lives is pure Krishna consciousness, the rendering loving service to the Lord without a trace of material desire or mental speculation. Such loving service to the Lord or to the original personality of God immediately creates the atmosphere of Sri Vrindavan Dham, God. So the chance is there, but the choice is ours. So let us take this matter seriously. Let us lament with Srila Prabhupada. Srutavya Dini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrasaha Apasyatam Atmatatwam Griyesu Griyamedinam Griyesu Griyamedinam Griyesu Griyamedinam. We should not become Griyamedis. We should become Grihasthas. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are some questions or commentaries on these points.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, His Grace Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, for such beautiful and very, very elucidating class. Very much clarified. Lots of quotations to support what you were sharing with us. And I have some questions, but we'll go to His Grace Ganga Prashad Prabhu first. So
Gangeya.
Krishna Prabhu, please unmute.
Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu,
Hare Krishna,
Director
Gangeya.
of Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education, merited, deserved,
Prabhu,
and
Prabhu,
qualified.
Prabhu, take it easy. It's not just that. I'm a Bhaktivedanta now. Why do you forget that?
That's what I'm saying. Bhaktivedanta
I'm not the
Academy.
coordinator of the course, but I'm a Bhaktivedanta myself now.
Okay, so I am just
Forgive me, I beg.
affirming,
Forgive me, I beg.
reinstating, and mentioning that it is a title or a qualification well deserved. Congratulations. I didn't raise my hand to ask question. I don't want to raise the accolade so that it will fit properly. Thank you very much.
Forgive
You
me,
represent
I
what
beg.
your title is.
Just forgive me, I'm your humble servant, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Dr. Prashad Prabhu.
Forgive me, I beg.
Dr. Prashad Prabhu, you are so sweet.
I'm
Yeah.
begging for forgiveness, I
You're like
beg.
a vanilla ice cream.
Forgive me.
Hare Krishna. Shubha Vara Prabhu, please, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to assembled devotees. Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. I have a question. In your class, you mentioned the unity in diversity as opposed to complexity and diversity of the life of Gyanidis. And you also mentioned the beauty of communities that are based on God consciousness, individual family coming together, forming a community based on God. These are very nice things to hear. But right from the early days of Krishna consciousness, sociologists, and especially one of them, Avi Cox, who associated, he was a professor in the Harvard University and was one of the early intellectuals who associated with ISKCON. And as a sociologist, one of his observations was that Krishna consciousness, as practiced by ISKCON devotees, is like very individualistic, as opposed to what you're saying, community, and that our emphasis is on individual salvation, as opposed to communal and corporate kind of progress or salvation. And this is a very important. It's a very important observation. Like, for instance, it's also important that we, side by side, look at other communities around us. If they seem to be prospering, if they seem to be waxing stronger, it's because they put emphasis on the community, on the families coming together, forming a community, and the community supporting one another in a very serious manner. Up to the point that they push themselves to have a place in the government or to have a place in the society where they can exemplify the values of their community. So I don't see us making that drive, and I feel that even though our scripture extol this kind of spiritual community, but we seem to be far away and we don't seem to be driving towards that. So what are those things that could actually help us to gradually come to this point of letting people feel that they belong to a community and that community has to grow so that we can be able to impact the larger society with our values? Last point. I also asked the same similar question in the past to some of the speakers on this platform. I don't know who was speaking that day, and I was mentioning about Gurudev saying that there are different different type of communities founded either by accident, either by design, or either by disaster. And I did mention, and I think the speaker agreed with me, that we do not have a design for our own community. So it may be very, very far-fetched for us to achieve what you are preaching. So that is my point. If we don't have a design, or maybe you have some suggestion for us, I would like to hear. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dandavat pronounce all glories to you. Yes, this is something I think we need to table it on the strategic level. The philosophy is perfect, but the practitioners have some shortcomings on how to do things. Generally, sometimes due to lack of experience, or most of the time due to lack of experience on how to do things. This fact, we must accept it. We know a lot, but we know little on how to really do things, integrating the material and the spiritual without losing focus. So at the initial stage, due to immaturity, we say, oh, we are not mature enough on our own, like when Jesus Christ first left for 18 years. Then later he came back when he felt he was mature. Many of us, when we joined, for 10, 20 years, we didn't visit home. One of the reasons was that we were not very mature then. If we go back to visit, the family members may succeed in trapping us and we will not come back again. So we stay put until when we feel that we are mature, then we go back to visit. So initially, many opportunities came up even for these communities. Many opportunities, people want to give us big land so that we can. Some of our leaders said, no, now we don't want communities. We don't want big land, we don't want properties. If properties come now, there will be dissension, there will be problem. So we just want a place, small house in town, and from there we want to just preach, do pioneering work. So in this way, later we lose all those opportunities. And when we started looking for the lands, we couldn't get them. Even when we get them, they have become too expensive. So the immaturity of the practitioner, or the practitioners have played this big role. Immaturity of the practitioners. But then it's not over until it is over. We know that we have not met up in that particular direction. And if we are expecting the top level of the organization to think about it and come up with strategies and make some design and try to facilitate it, it might take a very long time, because when you attain the top level, your level of renunciation becomes so sharp, your focus on renunciation becomes so sharp that you might not, but it is the grihastas, the householders, who actually need to take it upon themselves. As far as I understand, though, my understanding may not be purely right, but it is the householders who need to take it up very serious. Because I heard Gurudev saying before he left that the Grihastha, the sannyasi ashram is the most spiritual, but the householder ashram, as far as we are preachers, is the most important, because 99% of our devotees are householders and going to be householders also. And it is the householders that directly interact with the community. So the community rate our progress based on how much the householders are well established and how much they are doing their household work and how much. So the householders have a very big role to play. And if we said, let all the householders come together and think about it, it would have been so nice. After all, if we create communities, our children will come into a kind of arrangement whereby their needs, physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual, are all taken care of. There is a temple in the center, there are cottage industries all around, and there's a restaurant, there are guest houses. They come into such a situation, it will be so nice, a setting for them to develop their Krishna consciousness. You see? So the Grihasthas, if they can take it upon themselves, if they can come collectively and think, okay, let Grihasthas form a group and they should meditate on how to create communities. Because their children they are giving birth to children. They don't want their children to go and be risking their devotional life in the coming schools and all that. That we want to create this, we want to get hospitals, we want to get Ayurvedic clinic, we want to get standard restaurants, and we want to produce our own food. And if we create it, the higher levels, we just host them. The gurus and the sannyasis, we invite them. During festival, we just do a festival within our community. And as for the gurus and the sannyasis, they come in, we serve them very nicely. They give their blessing and they go. We continue to arrange until we have our own market, internal market in our community, closed community, whereby when you enter the gate, everything is inside. So if the Grihasthas can think about it, and if the Grihasthas are collectively not thinking about it, one individual, one Grihastha who has strong determination can just identify 1, 2, 3, or 4 others who are similarly focused. Then they just acquire some big land, they start working on it. When they get to a level, then they can now invite people to come in, and we have a big center. We host our regional festivals there. And we come to Ghana, we have a community, we host our festival there. We go to Nigeria, we have a community, we host our, it will be so beautiful. We don't need to rent accommodation anywhere. There we have guest houses to accommodate. We make the money from inside and everything else. Just as it's in Mayapur. You go there, everything, they make everything. Everything is there in Mayapur. So if we can, if the Grihasthas can take it up and meditate.
Hare Krishna. Our precious speaker is having issues with his connection, but he surely will be back. Salika Prabhu, I see you talking, but we can't hear you.
This my so many speakers. You know, when you are too financially buoyant, you don't know which one to spend. You have so many. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think
we lost him, but he will be back.
I'm sure he's going to be back.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make some comments in regards to the ongoing discussions in terms of SRIMAD Prabhu's questions to comments. I think that whatever has happened in our region, especially, we know that globally there are different situations. It is not bad, whatever has happened in the past. I think the only challenge is that we remain in the past. I think that is what.
Okay.
Yeah, our speaker is back.
Yeah, welcome back, Prabhuji.
Yes, so glorious. Forgive us.
It's okay. Go ahead.
The environmental conditions are not stable. So
yeah. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the whatever has happened in the past up to yesterday was okay. They are part of the growth system, and it is not wrong that we did not capture the essence from the beginning. But remaining in the past is what concerns me the most as an individual, because falling is not a problem, but remaining falling is what becomes a challenge. And I think that there is a kind of a wave of intellectual development in West Africa. That's one thing I can assent to. And I think it's a good development because as people get to know, more and more people get to know there is an hope that maybe probably one of these days, some transformation and change will occur. But it's taking so long. We pray that it happens so soon. Welcome back, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. That is the conclusion.
Yeah, I have a follow-up for the question. Not so much, just a little thing to add. Because while you were speaking, this was going on in my head, and I would like to share it. I mean, the point is that if we really want a God-conscious community, where Grihastas feel proud practicing Krishna consciousness, and in association of other members, all having raising children, and everyone feeling proud that they are devotees of Krishna, Now, the long shot of that are the children inheriting the Krishna consciousness from us, which is very hard to see today. Now, we do not see this passion of our Grihastas wanting only their children to be married to only devotees. And because this is not happening, of course, we're also seeing that devotees also going out to marry non-devotees. So that reinforced the point that we are not actually like community oriented. We are like individual, salvationist, which is maybe that is how our society wants to remain or grow. But groups or communities who want to, who want to prolong, or the word is not coming, but let me say, who wants to eternalize their community, you see them strictly refusing their children marrying somebody who does not belong to their faith. Even Christians, we see them doing that. We think that it's wrong. The Muslims are doing that. We think that it may be some fanaticism. But if we look at the principles that you have enumerated and all those quotes you have given about Grihastha life, then you realize that this is very important. That if anyone calls himself a Grihastha, he would not even want his child to be married to a non-devotee. It would be a rule. But we have not seen that kind of, intense attachment for our own kind of faith and practices. So maybe you can conclude on, you can throw some light on why this is the case and what can be done to reverse the situation. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. It is very beautiful that we have now arrived at identifying this and talking about it. We have all seen it. Now we are talking about it. The next thing is we will go into action. We are seeing it. We are talking about it. Means very soon we'll go into action. But how soon is what I don't know. Krishna will pick somebody, will inspire somebody from the heart to take it very seriously. Or as we are saying, if we come together, the Grihastas come together and start to plan together and make it a priority. And we can just channel all our energies. And it will be so beautiful if we can achieve this thing before we change our bodies. Because jokingly, I used to say that all of us here who inherited the movement, as part of the pioneers. Pioneers also have grades. But all of us who are inherited that have become pioneers, it is our duty. We should not think that somebody else is supposed to do it. It is we who are supposed to do it. So if one individual is not inspired to take it up, we have all come to arrive at seeing that shortcoming that need to be corrected. We form some group and we start talking about it. and we start talking about it, then we will see the needs. We make move towards getting some big place in different countries. In Ghana, we get some big place and we put it as a priority, and we make community. In Nigeria, we get some big place. In every country, we try to get some big place at the outskirts of the towns or the cities. There are cars now from wherever you are. You can just enter the car and you are in the city in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So we should move. I mean, we say the cities are in the mood of passion. Suburbs are more in the mood of goodness. So if we really mean it, we should think about it and get some establishment, get some big land somewhere. Then we start from there. Otherwise, when we leave our bodies, we are going to come back to become children of our own children. So what we have given to them, we are coming back to inherit it. So if what we are giving them now is not what we would like to inherit, then of course we should start making it's never too late. We should start making the move so that we can, even if we can just get the land down and doing some engineering work and we leave our bodies. When we come back, we become part of those to develop the land. Then in that way, we are going ahead. Otherwise, if we are thinking that we leave our body, we go and join where Krishna is performing pastime and go from there back to Godhead. Krishna might not want us, he might want us to remain here to preach and to transform this place. He will send us back. Even if we are so qualified, we want to go. He want to send more people here. So he might choose you. Since you are just coming from there freshly, you go to this part, you go to that part, you come and take birth. And you begin to struggle from the beginning again. So if we have a community and we take birth in that community, then we also begin to develop it and come back again. Or everybody who is living the bodies, we take birth in one community and we develop. It is our responsibility. So this is the point. It is true that we passed through, just as Halika was saying, whatever mood we took was okay for us to move to the next stage. We are here now. Now it is dawning on us that we need to create these communities. So it is Krishna, the Super Soul, that is giving us a reminder. So if we take it seriously, we just put our energies together and submit it to the Super Soul to give us to unfold the next sequence. And before you realize, something wonderful will happen before we change our bodies. In the next 10 years, we can achieve so much if we want. And we will all see, and our cremation will be done in those communities, because in that land, in our land, there will be space for cremation.
Hare Krishna.
Now, I believe the whole group are inspiring us to talk about this level. We have been positioned in different places. We have resources. If you have your resources and you develop some place for yourself, you leave your body very soon. Your family members, the extended family will come and fight and take it up. Take it away, and no devotee will benefit from it. So if we contribute some energies together and create some big places and start the development now, we are laying some good foundation. Imagine all our own children are going to come in schools. Our children are going to come in schools. Assuming we have our own 9 schools, all our children go to our school, then other children will join them. Then we develop, before we realize we have secondary school, we have university. So the responsibility is ours. We are talking about it now. Very soon, I believe, the Super Soul will empower us, that is hearing us, is going to give us the chance to put into practice what we are talking about.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, His Grace, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu.
They has a role to play.
I hear you. I was tempted to relinquish my question because it's a bit of a diversion from this beautiful topic we are discussing. But I have a question regarding about 75% of your delivery of Krishna Katha today. I mean, you gave wonderful class. 75% of the class was about grihastas, grihamedis, and what to do to attain Krishna, which is very beautiful. Now, my question, because even before you actually delved into the text itself, you first of all asked questions about our individual definitions of grihasta, and few devotees gave beautiful definitions. And I had something to say, but I didn't want to keep us on that particular angle for too long. But I'm not saying it's my definition, it's my observation. My observation is that the Grihastha ashram is an ashram designed by the Supreme Lord for those who want to worship him, but they still have inclinations for sense gratification. And so Krishna gives such people a small window to gratify their senses while they try to worship him. Because if what you were reading from the purport that Srila Prabhupada gave, I'll put it up here. The grihastas are those who live together with wife and children, but live transcendentally for realizing the ultimate truth. If that is the case, men, women, and children are living together transcendentally to realize the ultimate truth. Then why is it that the 4 phases of human life, which is the ashrams, only 1/4 is dedicated for sex life? The other 3, which is brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyasi, no sex life. The only time one can engage in sex life is when he is a grihasta, which is 25 years old, 25 years. The remaining 75 years, no sex life. If that coming together is to ultimately attain Krishna, why is it limited to just 25 and not the rest of the individual's life? So my view of Grihastha ashram is that it's an ashram designed by the Supreme Lord for those who want to worship him, but they still have inclination for sense gratification. So Grihastha ashram also involves sense gratification. What do you say about that?
Yeah, it's regulated sense gratification, yeah. Regulated sense gratification. Yes, regulated by sastric boundaries, understand? So the desire for sense gratification is there. If you have it regulated, Krishna is the ultimate Sankirtan devotee. In fact, it's a multi-socket, electrical hub, because he knows the different millions of people according to their desires. They have their desires. So he tried to meet them where they are, and gradually bring them to where he wants them to be. So that is the whole thing. Generally, people are vikamis. They do activities that will bring them miseries. They say, okay, that is there. Since you are absorbed, you are already stuck in that. Do it, but add God into it. So he brought God to add into them. So job is doing, but you say God is also in the center. Then gradually they become purified since God has come in. And then they begin to do activities that are karma yoga kind of activities. Let us do the same activities, but we take the remnant as prasad. We cook, but we offer the food to the Lord, and we take the remnants as prasad. And in that way, they get more purification until they begin to realize that if you are doing things, you have added God into it, you should be giving some percentage of your overall results. So they start donating 10%, 5%, 10%, then you gradually increase it until it becomes 50%. You gradually increase it until you get to a point to say, I no need to take any percent self again. Then it becomes a bacteria at that point. Because as it's going along, knowledge is coming, is getting developed. Knowledge is awakened from within by the Lord, who is the super soul, and gradually until it arrives. So regulators and gratification, that is what is allowed there. It is regulated so that eventually you will see the need to give it up altogether by yourself. You see? If you are already trained up in the service of the Lord and you are all doing devotional service together very nicely, towards the end, even if you don't give it up, still the practice, devotional practice of the people around you will elevate you, and you leave your body. Your place has become an extension of the temple. You see? Well, so it is the Lord's mercy to accommodate all of us and our desires at the same time.
All right. Thank you. And I would want to further ask a question on this same topic by giving it this quotation, providing this quotation from SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. And then you may throw more light on this to help us all, because this is Canto 4, Chapter 22, text number 13. This is about Prithu Maharaj. Okay. So Prithu Maharaj inquired from the sages, that's the 4 Kumaras, about persons entangled in this dangerous material existence because of their previous actions. Could such persons, whose only aim is sense gratification, be blessed with any good fortune? And so Srila Prabhupada's purport, the opening sentence of the purport says, Maharaj Prithu did not ask the Kumaras about their good fortune, for the Kumaras are always auspicious by dint of their life in celibacy. So when Maharaj Prithu met the Kumaras, he did not ask them about their good fortune, because Maharaj Prithu already knew that they are already more than fortunate because of the dint of their life of celibacy. If we read further in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says something here. I hope you see here. Here. Do you see where I've been highlighted? All of you. Grihastha life is inauspicious.
We can't see okay, we can see what you are reading, but we cannot see what the highlights.
Okay, here.
Highlight it again. It went off. Highlight it again.
It's okay now. It's okay now.
It's okay.
It's gone off.
Is it better now?
But it went.
Is it okay like this?
Yeah, yes.
Go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it. We hear you.
Okay.
Just read it.
All right, thank you. Grihastha life is inauspicious because Grihastha means consciousness for sense gratification. And as soon as there is sense gratification, one's position is always full of dangers. This material world is said to be padam padam yadvi padam nate sham, dangerous in every step. So if Srila Prabhupada himself is saying here, Grihastha life is inauspicious because Grihastha means consciousness for sense gratification. And if we go a little above here, things are not only grihastas who are generally absorbed in sense gratification, but are sometimes employed to kill animals in hunting because they have to practice the killing art. Otherwise, it is very difficult for them to fight with their enemies. Such things are not auspicious. So 4 kinds of sinful activities, one associating with women for illicit sex, eating meat, we know that. But here, Srila Prabhupada is saying is that grihasta means sense gratification. And that is why there are 4 ashrams: brahmachari, grihasta, vanaprastha, sannyasi. Out of these 4, only one is sex life permissible. So, okay, Krishna wants me to stop here and then you take over. Hare Krishna.
Sadev, what is that test again? Okay, Sadev has muted. Guess he has some emergency. Chaitanya Prema Prabhu is also not here.
Yeah,
But
Prabhu
in the
is there, but
interim,
okay. Well, because I would like to say something, but Ganga Prasad.
Okay, Smavra Prabhu, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Go
yes.
ahead.
Can I go ahead? Okay. Yeah. So I
Sorry,
think,
I'm back. I'm sorry. Did you ask me a question? Of course, I know I heard Shuma Prabhu speaking.
yeah, because go ahead, Salika Prabhu.
No, you go ahead. You are good. Since you already started speaking. Go ahead.
Okay, so because Chaitanya Prema Prabhu is not available, and the point you have raised, I have some remark to make on that point.
Okay.
Your outlook of Grihastha life from your observation is the type that is not helping devotees to develop as devotees as they should. Because when Grihastha life is seen as being inauspicious, is the only one in the ashram, like all the things you've given. I don't know whether you come on those conclusions yourself or you've been hearing them, but I'll give you some things to the contrary. One is that, yes, Grihastha ashram is only one out of the 4 ashrams, because that is the only ashram where it can be practiced, where sex life can be practiced. By the time you're 50, 60, your sex life drive is down. And by the time before you become 25, you're still growing. So even if you engage in sex life before 25, how are you going to sustain the result of such sex life? You're still immature. So, the fact that sex life is only one ashram, it's not like it's to be discouraged, but it is just that is when it is practicable. So if you're developing a concept on Grihastha ashram and using that as an example, because it is only in one ashram out of 4, so that means that it is not spiritual. I think that is like being negative, and that is not part of the scripture. It is somebody's idea, maybe your idea, or you had it from somewhere.
No, it's not my idea. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. I can look it up. Srila Prabhupada says that.
No, don't look it up yet. Don't look it up yet. Let me just learn.
Okay.
So another thing I'd like you to know is that you see, when we limit ourselves by certain comments or certain thoughts, we will not be able to achieve the goal, that we are intended to achieve. Because this goal is attainable by anyone. Kiba, Yasi, Kiba, Vipra, Lord Chaitanya said, I'm not, I mean, it is not that. Gopi Batu Pada Kamala Dasa no Dasa. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Grihastha. So this goal can be attained by everybody. So if we start speaking on the sense of repeating statements that make it look like Grihasthas cannot attain God, then that is not doing good service. Now, last point I want to make. That Krishna is the source of all pleasures. Krishna actually is the ocean of pleasure, and we are emanating from him. We're emanating from Krishna. So the desire for sense pleasure, it is not contrary to the living entity. This living entity inherited it from his father, God. And you can read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, comments to verse 137 or 138. If you have it, if you can put it, I have it in French here. I cannot read it because it's in French here. So if you read that, you see what Srila Prabhupada developed there about sex life, and saying that it is also existing in the spiritual world, and Krishna is inclined to sex life, and we have inherited this tendency from him. So it is not a question of pleasure being wrong, but it is where it is oriented. Pleasure is part of us. Ananda Maya Bias. We are pleasure seekers naturally because we emanate from the ocean of pleasure. So please don't castigate yourself, or don't think that you are in a wrong place by being a grihastha. A devotee is a devotee. Ashram is, temporary. But the consciousness of a devotee is that he's a servant of Krishna, wherever he may be positioned. And don't think that pleasure seeking is a sin, only when it is not directed to Krishna. We are emanation of Krishna, who is the ocean of pleasure. And Krishna himself is inclined to sex. You can read that. You can read that in Srila Prabhupada purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, text 138. You can note it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Srimad Prabhu. Srimad Sadi Prabhu, please permit
Hare
me
Krishna.
to go after him before Ganga Prasad.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Srimad Prabhu.
Prabhu, we have completely put Chaitanya Prema Prabhu behind. He's the one supposed to be the one running the show.
He's back now, yes. I just wanted to
go ahead, and then Chaitanya Prema Prabhu.
No, we take it over. We take over from here. Yeah, welcome back, our VC. Today, I want to revoke the original title of Sriman Sahadev Prabhu as a professor of Vedic studies, as Ganga Prasad has given him, because sometimes he uses his research ability to be able to bring out topical issues. So, and it's very wonderful, it's good that we bring out such matters so that we can get clarity. I'm going to be speaking in line with what Sriman Varaya Prabhu said, because when you asked that question, that was why I raised my hand immediately, because when we look at sex life as something that is denigrating or inauspicious, the reference you quote, I'll come back to the reference you quoted, but let me start from here. Let us look at Krishna and Krishna's desires, because everything is manifesting based on Krishna's desires. And when you say, why is sex life only in 1 out of 4? This is part of Krishna's design for the purpose for which Krishna wants the material world to run on. And let us understand that when Krishna says, I'm sex life that is not deprived of God consciousness, there is a necessity for creation. And then for that purpose, there is need for sex life, for procreation in the material world. It's a necessity. I remembered about 30 years ago when I had this conversation with Labhakti Titra Maharaj, because I'm one of the person who think the way you think now about sex life, because even before joining Krishna consciousness, even while I was a Christian, I was not in the Catholic seminary, but I was very inclined to celibacy. And when I was forced to go into marital life, I choose not to get engaged in sex life, even though I was married. So when I got Krishna consciousness, I was going to take an opportunity of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness to run away from married life. So, but then Srila Gurudev came in between. It's a long story. I don't want to go into the details. He spotted my wife, and they said, "Who is this woman?" And then in the course of inquiries, he came to know that she actually is my wife. And they said, "How is it that you are a married person and you are like this?" So then we got into discussions. And what I'm sharing today is based on that conversation with Srila Gurudev. That sex life or married life is a necessary arrangement of Krishna for part of Krishna's arrangement for the material universe, universal arrangement. But because the ultimate purpose of Krishna is that to develop love of Godhead, so the other ashrams, which are 1, 3, and 4, that is the brahmachari, the vanaprastha, and the sannyas life, are created to promote that ultimate purpose. But in between it, the marital life or the sex life or the arrangement for sex life is a necessary requirement of Krishna for the function of Krishna's arrangement in creations, in the creative arrangements. Krishna, if he wants, he could make the living entity beget children without engaging in sex life, but it's a necessary part of it. So that is one aspect of it. Now, when we go further from that discussion, there is so many references in the scriptures. I'm not the one giving class, so I'm not going to the details of those references. But the fact is this, that Grihastha life can never be inauspicious. The verse you are reading, I'm going to go back to it because sometimes, like one of our Srila Prabhupada disciples said, that one of the dangers of ISKCON is that to take out what Srila Prabhupada said, but without looking at the context in which it was said. And that is what I think happens in the text you quoted, because the case in the discussions of Prithu Maharaj, when you look at the preceding text, why it is said is inauspicious in that particular context was as a result that there is every greater chance. And I will take that from the Bible context in the First Corinthians. In the First Corinthians, Paul Apostle says the same thing. He said it is better not to get into married life at all. But if one cannot control himself, then instead of lusting, he should get into marital life. In the same way, in the story of Prithu Maharaj, that particular context, it was given for the fact that the marital life gives a greater chances of the living entity getting distracted because of this pleasure that exists in that ashram. But that is not to say that sense gratification is not existing in the same capacity in other ashrams. They are all existing, because you see, one of the greatest challenge that our ISKCON movement has us today, as the fact is that we find that even those who are in the science orders are becoming more even of a sense gratifier than, and that is why there is so much of eruption of criticisms of science ashram, even when it is supposed to be the head of the ashram. Because I remember there is one Maharaj that gave class here some few days ago, and that science alone, just for the purpose of checking time, if you check the price of his wristwatch, this Maharaj, I don't want to mention name, but we all can reference him. His wristwatch alone is worth over $500 US. And all the things he used, if you look at them, they are so financially so expensive for a sannyasi. Even a grihastha should not use that for the purpose of it. So sense gratification is not synonymous to grihastha life. It is synonymous to all of the ashram. It's depending on the consciousness of who is in that particular ashram. I don't want to take more time. It is a whole discussion that we can go and we can reference so many verses in the scriptures. That's what I will share for now. And I will allow our superiors who are here. Ganga Prasad Prabhu is here, and Chaitanya PREMA Prabhu, who is also our VC.
Thank you.
Can speak a little more on that.
It's Krishna's arrangement. Krishna wants the different devotees to trash the matter. That's why internet disconnected me. So give chance to Ganga Prasad.
Okay,
Prabhu.
yes. So Ganga Prasad Prabhu, please unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
I first of all have to thank Sriman Prabhu. In Prabhupada's preface to Bhagavatam, he said, and there is a pinprick. The discussion about community is a pinprick. But the text we are reading today gives us insight into it. And that is, yes, we may assume the titles of Grihastas in ISKCON, but to a very great extent, we have all failed as Grihastas because we fall in the category of people who either are not properly processed to be Grihastas, or we take to it and we become envious of each other. During my Bhakti Sastri course, one of my facilitators said that to really have a community of practitioners, the first thing is to follow the motto of Prabhupada's mission, simple living. And simple living means reduce. But he said you cannot preach simple living to women. And Srila Krishna Prabhupada himself said that our women, they are preoccupied with who will marry who and who has how many saris. So you can't tell the women to have less saris. They want to increase it. So how will simple living come like that? So it increases envy of each other. Okay. But then what I want to bring out is that we have to, on our individual capacity, really attend to things. Varaha Prabhu mentioned that the enthusiasm of the youth now are not there, are not as far with what the pioneers had. And so the future is very bleak. And why is it so? It's part of our Grihastha approach. Many of our children don't have interest in Krishna consciousness because they think their parents, they are impoverished financially. They don't have money. So they're not papa be this. So they don't want to follow this. And Prabhupada himself said it. He said, nobody will listen to a poverty-stricken man. You understand? So, but Prabhu Sadev, the text you read, I just wanted to shed light on that question you raised to address something so that we can see how to build up what Prabhu Varaha have insinuated. In chapter 9, first canto, text 27, Prabhupada mentioned something, and this is the premise under which we can think of healthy grihastha and community. So Bhishmadev explained in that text, 1927, he said he explained by division acts of charity, pragmatic activity of a king, and activities of salvation. Then he described the duties of women devotees both briefly and extensively. In the purport, Prabhupada mentioned duties for ashrams. And if you take it, there is two ways. First is brahmachari, then you can just shunt or jump to sannyasi life. But otherwise, you take to grihastha life and then you progress to vanaprastha. So if a vanaprastha was a grihastha, a brahmachari can become a sannyasi or become a grihastha is optional. But the first thing Prabhupada said, a brahmachari or student should perform sacrifice, or a householder should give charity. Now, for the brahmachari to be able to perform sacrifices, it has to be what the Prabhupada said here. In the brahmachari ashram, training is sufficiently imparted so that one understands that the world is as a property of the Supreme Lord. Training is one thing that is missing. Many of us, like I said, we are not processed properly before we jump into the grihastha ashram. So sometimes it is acting according to our own whims and caprices. And so, like you said, that is only in the grihastha ashram that sex life is allowed. In the same purport, Prabhupada said, therefore, in the life of a householder, which is a sort of license for sex enjoyment, it's a sort of license. And Prabhupada somewhere said, sex, licit or illicit, is illicit because it impedes your progress ultimately. But like it is said in the third canto, where he mentioned about the generation of this sons of Daksha and Manu. Before then, procreation was not based on sexual intercourse. It was because the population was not increasing at the level, speed. Then this concept of man-woman productivity came to be. And they gave us how it was done. Okay? So, but then the householder has the obligation of charity. In what you read abroad the discussion, it said that the king also is a grihasta. And so the king also gives charity. So the king will tax, but the king uses the proceeds of tax to develop society, create an enabling environment where people can chase their regular life and be able to make progress towards salvation. So in addressing what Prabhu Varaha said, we should be a little bit introspective and see at what point we take it. Otherwise, if we discuss everything in one go, we will not land at anything. So my point is, says there must be proper education. And as of today, I feel majority of the problem we have in our communities and in our society is lack of philosophical clarity. People don't understand the philosophy. So how can they apply what they don't understand? So in the same vein, a brahmachari should not make money. A sannyasi should not handle money. But the grihasta has the responsibility to make money and be able to support the brahmachari and the sannyasis. He raises money. So that's why I say he gives charity for the service of the Lord. He supports them. But most of us who are grihastas, we don't know how to make money. We're like Dronacharya. So much knowledge, but we cannot make money. And when you don't make money and you are preaching, what will happen? When your children go to the hospital and they don't pay their hospital bills, what kind of preaching is that? They go to school, their own school fees, they drive them from school. What kind of, and then you say you are a grihasta. So you see, this thing is a probing thing, and I appreciate the fact that Prabhu Varaha brought it up today, because it's a pinprick in our society, but it's a thing that we have to follow according to medical process. We have to examine it, we have to diagnose it, then we can prescribe, make prescriptions that is applied. Then we'll get the right result. So if we cut it here and there prematurely, we'll not even have clarity of what is to be done, say nothing of getting the result we want. And the other point he raised, our daughters not getting married to non-devotees, or our men getting married to non-devotees. And if you look at the Jehovah's Witness, they are so fanatical about that their daughters should not marry from anywhere else. But what happens in the end? There are so many unmarried girls, unmarried young girls. That has its own disadvantage also. But the reality is, if we live well and people are trained on a progressive value, how to acquire knowledge, how to apply knowledge and make money and live a very simple life, not competitive life, simple life, cut down and depend only on basics, then we can see a picture of having a community. Because by Srila Krishna Prabhu's disposition, when I came from India, I got a lot of inspiration from his preachings about community, about cottage industry, about self-sufficiency. But in the end, because we are not equally evolved in terms of information, many of us, either jealously or enviously, we bootleg people who mean well. And in the end, those projects that are bootleg, they stop being existing, and the benefit to us are also stopped. So how can you have a community when people don't think alike? So I like to stop here, but
I'm listening. I'll be back. Okay.
So I'm grateful that Prabhu Varaha raised this, and it's a pinprick that everybody should be able to introspect on and see how we can start from somewhere and be able to go beyond where we are now. But it is achievable. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you very much.
Over to you, Chaitanya Prema, Bhaktivedanta Academy.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
I think we've done enough justice to it. The senior devotees have done enough justice to it. And let us just pick some of the things and meditate on them and see what we can come up with, see how to implement some things from there. I don't think there's any need to talk more on the philosophical aspects. How do we go about practicing it? This thing, how do we, what is the best, how to go about starting the best? Let us think of it. Yeah? Let's
Practical
think of
application.
it.
Thank you very much, Srimad Chaitanya from Prema Prabhu. Actually, the points have been mentioned, and this is supposed to be a Bhagavatam class, and we will not take it too long so that it becomes like Easter Ghosty. So we'll give it a moderation, and we've been online for 2 hours, 10 minutes. So we thank you very much, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu. I'm not seeing any other hands up. And I think it's an ongoing discussion that can be further discussed at different fora, how we implement what Prabhupada has given us. One thing that everyone of us will agree with is that of all our understanding and knowledge of Krishna consciousness philosophy, the inability to be able to apply the Varna and Ashram principles still affects our developmental growth. We didn't understand it in the beginning. We are trying to understand it now. And in the future, I'm believing that I will be able to apply it. Siman Kavik and Prabhu, you have something to contribute before we come to the close?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. I was just trying to say that because Sukadeva just started talking and he's smashing Parishit Maharaj about the negativity about material life. So this discussion is going to continue for some time before we start hearing some renunciation talk. So it's going to be an ongoing topic.
Exactly. So yeah, the next about 5-6 verses in a row actually discuss this subject matter. So we'll hear from different speakers, different realizations, different opinion, and different guidelines on how to implement. Because ultimately, the purpose or the primary reason we all came in here is because we want to go back to Krishna. But how to go back to Krishna, we do not know in our present situation. So therefore, there is a need. And that is why Sukadev Goswami has appeared before Maharaj Parishit by the divine arrangement of Lord Krishna. That is why.
Okay. So, Saliji, thank you very much. But before we go, I think if anybody has one castle to prepare for us, everybody should give what is our take home in this class.
I'm just trying to summarize.
What is the relevant of
so
this
that we
class
can bring
to
this
us
class
in one
to an end.
sentence?
But I don't understand what you're saying.
What
so
I'm saying is that
your network has hung up again. Okay, I was just trying to summarize and then bring the class to a close. But do you want someone to still speak on this?
Okay, no problem. You can just summarize, just prepare some capsule. What are we taking home from here?
Yeah, what we are taking home is that, yes, we know that, and I've said it all. Whatever I wanted to say is simply 3 points for me. 3 points in that. Yes, Krishna consciousness is the purpose why we came into this movement, each and every one of us. And now, the second point is that, yes, we have gotten Krishna consciousness. Now, how to apply Krishna consciousness in our present situation to get the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness is all that we have to find a way around. And that was the purpose why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. That is why Lord Krishna sent Sukadev Goswami to answer Maharaj Parikshit's questions. That is why Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So as we continue hearing about this subject matter, we'll get more and more clarity about how to implement the Krishna consciousness philosophy in our individual and collective life. So on this note, I will want to enjoin all of the devotees who are present on this platform to please kindly unmute. Let us appreciate very thankfully our speaker for today, His Grace, Srimad Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, Vice Chancellor for Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education, West Africa, and who is himself a Bhaktivedanta himself, the first Bhaktivedanta in the whole of the West African region. And there is something to be celebrated because it's not an ordinary thing to become a Bhaktivedanta.
Supreme Prabhu, He said his Prabhu is enjoying it.
Prabhu, I can't do otherwise. So I can't do otherwise. Hare Krishna.
So it's okay. So let us all kindly, please, unmute and loudly chant a powerful
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Panchakarpatarubhya, Koti Vaishnava Vinde ki jai. Praise Bhakti Vedanta Chaitanya Prema Prabhu ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Salika, you can remove me online now. You can still talk
That's
now.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Chaitanya Prabhu has gone.